Hello, has everyone got their seats? Yes. Hi everyone. Hi. Welcome to the Art of Comfort with Miquita and Friends. Today, Dr. Martin has launched a brand new shoe called the Zebzag. Got it on my feet. So to celebrate, we'll be hearing from three amazing women who know a bit about making the uncomfortable comfortable. So could you please give a warm welcome to our host, broadcaster and cultural commentator, Miquita Oliver. Yeah.
Hi. Hi, everyone. There's friends here. Hi, Em. Sorry. Hello, everyone. We are here to celebrate the Zebzag shoe, the most comfortable boot that Dr. Martens ever made. As three people wearing it, I think we can attest to that. It's actually very comfortable. Actually, to be fair, we're all sitting in the tread of it right now, and it is pretty comfortable, isn't it? So thank you. What a bloody set. I think this is absolutely beautiful today, and it's lovely to see friendly faces, and we're all here to have a beautiful conversation about comfort, the importance of comfort, but also the importance of making yourself uncomfortable and living in discomfort. I'm joined by two women that I love who inspire me every day. Sharmadean Reid, a prolific businesswoman who 15 years ago started her first business and has literally just launched her newest brand, 39BC. I had smell yesterday. This is beautiful. Get ready. Tyson, a singer, a songwriter who continues to challenge the conventions of the music industry, whether that's with her own music or with Ladies Music Pub. So please give them a round of applause. Hello, darlings. Sharma, let's start with you. I want to talk about Wild Nails. That was 2009, and you have always continued to create spaces for women, whether that's in business, whether that's in community. The new brand is focusing on the comfort of the ritual nature of life and how important it is to bring that into our life. Why do you think ritual is so important for us today?
Thanks so much for having me. This is fantastic. So yeah, 2009, I was 24 years old, and I think for many of us in the room who are a little bit older, um, we remember a few things, an era pre-social media,
Good times.
I
Yeah.
Instagram only came out in 2010, so it was like pre-social media era. It was where discovery and fun and connection and hanging out in real life were really, really important. And over the last 15 years, I feel like we've lost a little bit of that. We've lost that feeling of coming together in person for collective shared experience. The nails were really just the excuse, right? Because what if did anyone ever come to our nails?
Who was a Wild Nails customer?
Yeah, okay, so there's quite a few people here. The nails were the good part, but that was just the excuse, right? Because the fun bit was chatting to some other cool woman who was there. And yeah, so I really feel like these spaces are missing. And now we're at home, often, sadly, alone. And we have to create new forms of connection with ourselves. And I'm now 41. I'm not that 24, 5-year-old girl running around Dalston anymore.
Yeah.
I live on a farm in Staffordshire. Things have definitely slowed down. And for me, that connection with myself after giving myself to everybody else for the last 20 years is really, really important. And I just think that that is a natural evolution of womanhood, I think.
Definitely. And Ticey, with you, what was it about Ladies Music Pub? Because obviously, Ladies Music Pub is based in connection and the real lifeness of it. This is people coming together in rooms together in real life to sort of discuss and tell stories. That's what I love about it. It kind of feels kind of ancient, sitting around like a fire, storytelling to kind of help each other. What was it that you knew was needed with Ladies Music Pub? What gap were you trying to fill?
I think really similar to what you were saying about the physical experience of being in One Nail. So Ladies Music Pub, if you don't know, is an organization that I started 10 years ago now.
Oh my God.
For women and transgender non-conforming people in music or around music or who want to be in music. And it really started with that experience that you're talking about. We're not a publishing company. It was in a pub.
We really
So we from the very first meeting, we would run them, and we have ever since, pretty much once a month. And we would go to the pub. The first one was a long table, basically, and we just sat around it. And it's kind of like breaking bread, but without the bread. You meet people, you share experiences, you ask for help, you can ask questions. If you are looking for a job, you can, say, I'm looking for a job. I need a person. And I think it's that we exist online, but I think that physical being in the same place as a person and being able to see each other is the crucial element.
It's crazy because when I came to, well, I've come to a few, but the one that I spoke at, and I was well uncomfortable. I was like waiting for my turn, going around a circle where you just had to say your name and what you did. And I was like, why am I so nervous? I don't know why. Maybe it was just like the fact that it felt a bit like kind of school assembly.
No, it's awful. And even we've been doing it for 10 years and we find it really uncomfortable.
But then I
And that's
felt
why-
good after I'd done it.
That's why we do it. A really good friend of ours, Ruby Savage, said quite early on at one of the meetings, it's important that you do that because it's quite hard for women and gender minorities to, not always hard, but I think for a lot of people to be like, hi, my name is so-and-so, I do this, I do it really well.
Yes.
I run this, I do this.
Yeah.
And so it's an uncomfortable exercise to help people do that, basically. I find it really hard.
Okay, good. I wasn't on my own. Sharma, we were working together yesterday, and your confidence was something that the other two ladies that we were with kept bringing up. And it was kind of interesting because I get really uncomfortable when people tell me that I'm confident. It then makes me feel really not confident. But there was a very opposite thing with you. You seem very calm in yourself and close to your confidence. Like you're comfortable with being a confident person. Where does that come from? And tell us how to do it.
I think it's so interesting that you picked that up. I've had the pleasure of having Miquita for 2 days this week. And you did pick that up, and that's quite, yeah, it's curious to me how my confidence would make somebody else feel uncomfortable. And I think right now we're in a era where it's very easy for people to comment from afar. And I think when people are commenting from afar, whether it's just commenting on, oh, little Miss Perfect, are we? Or it's, as extreme as trolling. What I hear when I hear that or when I experience that, I think, oh, there's something in me that is triggering you, making you feel uncomfortable, but that's not a me issue. That's not a me issue. So I'm going to stay. I always think of myself as like a lighthouse. I think I have to be the lighthouse, and the choppy sea can be around me, but I have to stay still and strong in my own convictions of myself. And whatever anyone else wants to do around me is their business, but this is my business. And I think that's how I maintain that calm that you so astutely observed yesterday.
Yes. Well, this is what we talked about yesterday as well. Sharmadean, see, I would say bravely, but you probably wouldn't think this took courage, but left London, left this city, and went home back to Wolverhampton and took a 1.5 year sabbatical, as it were, drank cider, lay in the garden and sat in the stillness and like allowed the space to listen to what would come. And, lo and behold, we have this new brand, and you said that, you've learned a lot about yourself, etc. But to leave the city, I was like, how can you leave London if you want to be successful? And I think there is this kind of discomfort I feel about like leaving this place that I feel like all success is. Tell me why you knew you could just leave London and you didn't have to stay here.
Well, as a caveat, I've been in London for 20 years. It's really funny being here in Tottenham Court Road because I went to Central St Martin's, which was over there somewhere. And the first time I came to London, this was the station I came out and like went for my interview at St Martin's, carrying my big portfolio. So I've been here a long time. So if you are in your early 20s or you've not set your career up yet, I will say it's not necessarily the best thing to leave the town. I always tell a 25-year-old, this is your era to party as much as possible, meet as many people as possible, hang out, connect, because that peer group is the group that you're going to grow up with for sure. I still have friends that I was raving with.
Those people run shit.
Those people those people are creative directors, head of, commissioners, control budgets. They're the ones who are going to support you. So yeah, if you are young, go and live in the city and have fun, go and party. I tell my son all the time, you are going to university to party. I tell him. He's like, no, Mum. Gen Alpha, we don't do that. I know, but so I had the confidence because I feel like I'd invested in my reputation and network, which I think is really important. That said, if you are young and you feel like the city life is not for you, we also have this wonderful thing called the internet and content creation where anyone can kind of be a writer or a filmmaker. You can kind of do whatever you want on the internet now. So yeah, maybe the city's not for you, but I think the most important thing is to decide what is right for you and to have the confidence to be like, everyone is telling me I have to move to London, or I have to move to New York, or I have to move to like LA. You don't. It's the myth.
Yeah. It's interesting you talked about the internet because I wanted to talk about Rihanna. We were talking about her yesterday, Sharma and Ty. We were talking about how she's just so damn comfortable in herself, and also comfortable enough to like leave a little bit of mystery and like not make music because anyone's telling her to.
I wish she would though, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. We're all desperately waiting. But I love that she's comfortable enough to take a break. What do you think about having a bit of bloody mystery in this age of everyone knowing everything about everyone?
I feel like a lot of people are talking about this at the moment, that like the and I posted something about it yesterday, that System Olympia I posted, like the tables are turning a little bit where authenticity and like real, I guess, people, not in people's real lives, but like artists just doing what they do and being a bit more mysterious. It's that more so than the like huge influencer time. And I'm not sure if it's going to be that explicit a change. I think that we need or there'll be a bit of both. But for me, I feel a little bit of relief with that because I I'd like to be able to be not a small artist, but an artist at the size that I am, and in the independent space that I make music in, and be able to be mysterious.
Yeah.
And not just that it's for artists. Once you get to Rihanna's level, that then you can do whatever you want. But hopefully all of us can still, release the music that we want to release, be ourselves, and not have to like post all the time until you're huge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I really experienced that with the podcast with Lily. It's literally called Miss Me, and we had to beg for 2 weeks off. And everyone and all the BBC and everyone were like, you can't have a week off. It's always on. And if you take a week off, then people's habits will change. And I was like, do we not have enough trust in our audience to allow them to actually miss us for a minute? And I do think there is power in not shoving yourself down people's throats. They didn't agree, but anyway, I still said it. Let's talk about motherhood, you crazy bitches, because you're doing this with children. Tyson, Tyson, your baby is young, but Roman is 14 now. So what can you tell Tyson about your early years when you were starting to build things with a young baby?
I don't know, because your family is a family that inspired me in my child rearing years, which is like, even Tyrone told me about how his mum would take him to dinner parties and play sleeping lions, or like put him under the dinner table and be like, every 10 minutes you're asleep, you'll get £2, and he'd be like pretending to be asleep. And yeah, so your family in your West London era. So just for context, I lived in Hackney for a very long time, but then I actually spent a lot of time in West London when Roman was, I think, 5 to 11. So I very much was inspired by the intergenerationalness of the West London community. I feel like everyone who's from West London was born in West London, and everyone who lives in Hackney is not from Hackney.
Yes,
So
very true. Obviously, yeah.
So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to raise him there. I wanted Roman to have friends from West London that he would have for life, but sadly the pandemic did not make that easy for us. But the point is that I was 26 years old when I had my baby, and none of my friends had had a baby. They're all having a baby now and apologizing to me. They're all like, we never knew. We're so sorry. We didn't realize. And it was just like, I had to decide how to do things my way, because motherhood, my friend's just written the most brilliant book called It Takes a Village. It just came out 2 days ago. And the thing about It Takes a Village is motherhood is this thing whereby we're in London alone, and for those who live in West London, you've got your village, but for everybody else who wasn't born in London or have their mum or grandma down the road, you're very much isolated. And I had to decide, this is how I'm going to raise my child, and this is I'm not going to let other people's judgment, because let's be real, mums are very judgy. Mothers are judgy to other mothers in a way that is crazy. And I would just be like, oh, it's cool you think that. Thanks so much for that information, when people would say something about how I was raising my child. So yeah, my advice to you is to do what you think is right. And, you know,
It's harder, like you said about the judginess. I assumed you just meant everyone. I think actually more so than mums, it's like every single person from the second people find out you're pregnant is just opinion, comment, opinion. So I do find it hard not doing what's right for me, but knowing what's right, because there's so much outside noise. I think because I'm a very busy mum, and our lives, and so is my partner. Like, our lives are quite unusual. So that village is crucial, family side. But we now live in northwest London, and I'm missing the maid village, the maid family. Like, none of our friends live there. So I have my family there, but I'm missing like everyone else.
So just to give some context, Tyson's my cousin, and her mother is a singer called Nana Cherry. And I just wanted to say, I remember because Nana was so sort of famously pregnant with Tyson. Tyson was the belly on top of the pops.
were you the belly?
Belly! She's
That belly. I got Tyrone to take a picture of me in a similar style with Roman because of that photo.
singing on a fake top of the pop stage.
So, like, you guys inspired me in more ways than you can imagine.
Oh my God, I love that, Sharma. But I remember after you had your baby and you were like, oh, I'm a bit like freaked out that it's not kind of like because Nana so famously juggled it, like was so all world tour and everything with you, and you were like, I'm trying to be a busy singer songwriter with a baby, and I'm not finding it easy at all. That was quite an uncomfortable first few months for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I realized quite quickly, like, okay, the music industry is very different. That was like, there was money in music. So that was, she was also 10 years younger than me. Hadn't thought about that until I had my daughter. I was like, I don't have that energy to jump around top of the pops. Not that, there is top of the pops, but
Yeah. We don't even have top of the pops anymore, exactly.
third point, I occupy a very different space in the music industry. But I think the uncomfortableness for me was that I didn't feel like I was at a place in my career where I could stop. I feel like you have to, these days you have to keep releasing all the time, and you have to be like visible. You have to keep going, or it feels like you're going to disappear. So I was very like, okay, I'll put a single out the week before she was born, or 10 days before she was born. Second single 3 months later. A project came out when she was 4 months old. I'll play a show when she's 5 months old. I'll be busy next year. And I think, it just didn't. I really pushed myself, but it didn't quite work out that way. I think it's just a strange time in music.
You were knackered.
Yeah, I was knackered.
Yeah.
I think I was very, very ready to work, but it's a bit of a strange time at the moment, so there wasn't loads of work, and I found that uncomfortable.
But you've got into kind of a new groove now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very busy.
Feel that. Yeah.
Do you know what as well? Like, it goes back to what you were saying about the visibility and the mystery. There is this fear, and especially, for those who are kind of planning their future motherhood journey, or like, there's so much I've got to achieve before I have a baby. But it's like, there is never a right time, is there? And that feeling of, oh, if I go and leave my job, whether that job is creative or whether that job's a 9 to 5, they're going to forget about me. And the sad thing is the data proves true, right? Like, single-handedly, gender inequities when it comes to pay is down to maternity. A single man and a single woman pretty much have equal pay, and then it starts to veer once babies start to come. So I feel like there's not just a societal village of support required, but there is obviously policy support and employment support and all these things that need to happen, so that we don't feel I can't relax and look after my child and be in love with my child, because if I do, I'll be forgotten about. Like, I hate that idea that we forget about mothers or any parent or carer who is literally raising the next layer of society. I just find that crazy. Like, I always think, no, that person's raising the next fireman or raising the next doctor. These people are contributing to society. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I found it so hard that the statutory maternity pay stops at 9 months, and it was basically from 9 months and still until now that I'm like, this is when she really, really needs our care and attention, and it's from that time where you're meant to just like back to work, like nothing happened, and there's no structural support really.
And then Celeste was telling me about nursery fees, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's another one.
Do that on another panel. It's uncomfortable. That is uncomfortable.
Back to fashion.
Uncomfortably priced nursery fees.
Back to fashion.
Yeah, back to fashion. Back to the important stuff. No, I actually want to talk about mistakes. And feeling comfortable with them. Something that has happened with myself and Lil on Miss Me is we've turned all of our messy past into success, which has felt really freeing, actually, not just to only talk about the things that you're ashamed of and that you feel were mistakes, but to talk about them on a really big platform and to talk about how you healed from them and hope that that's healing other people. That's been unbelievably freeing for me. How comfortable are you with your public mistakes? Or maybe they're not public, but any mistakes, failures, as it were. Even though we said we're not going to use that word anymore yesterday.
Yeah, I never think of them as mistakes because I always try and have compassion for myself at where I was at the time I made the mistake. So like a good example of a mistake in inverted commas, because we don't talk about mistakes or failures here.
No, what did we call them yesterday?
Experiment.
That's it, experiment.
I never say I failed. I said it was an experiment. That experiment didn't work out how I wanted, and now I'm trying something new.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on to my next one.
And the same thing with mistakes. So a mistake could be because I didn't come from the beauty industry when I started Wild Nails. You know, as I said, I studied at St. Martin's. I was in the fashion industry. I didn't realize how beauty products were the economic driver, and beauty services, there is a ceiling on your potential earnings because it's physical time, right? So my mistake is that I didn't make beauty products for WA fast enough, which meant that the trend we created, everybody profited from, but we didn't profit from, if that makes sense. So everyone who made a nail art pen before we did, or made a cool polish before we did, profited from the trend that we had made huge on the internet.
Right.
But if I was to have compassion for myself, I would say, well, this wasn't my industry. It was pre the era of entrepreneurs as rock stars. No one cared about startup.
Right.
I just had a baby. I was
Soon.
separating from my partner, and I was a mess. Let's be real. I was a mess. So like, I would not have been able to have the mental capacity to enter an industry that I had zero clue of and no mentors. And what's really sad is I definitely met a lot of older, wealthy men during that period who reached out to me and said, oh, what are you doing? We'd love to invest or whatever. And then they just didn't. They just took my ideas and did it themselves. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, again, this is pre people being cancelled or called out or having the confidence to do so. So I would just say it wasn't a mistake because I was just a 25-year-old girl whose frontal lobe had only just finished forming with a baby in an industry I didn't know. So it wasn't a mistake, it was a lesson. But guess what? Fast forward to being 41, I know what I'm bloody doing now.
Yeah.
And as I launch again, and as I launch a beauty project for the first time properly myself, like, so 39 BC is a line of luxury body oils that are all fine fragranced and incredible and inspired by the ancient world. I have taken that 15 years of mistake, absorbed it, studied, prepared, and now I know how to do it my way, right way.
No, listen, I know you study. Not only is it just to really get into this ancient ritualistic thing, you're also taking a samurai course.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what that.
I'm going to do a female samurai training course.
And that's the shit that you do now.
Because the next collection's based in Japan. So this one's based in ancient Egypt and Rome, but next year it's going to be all about ancient Japan.
That's right.
And I would never have done it this way had I done it at 25. I would have done like fast, quick, cheap.
Yes.
Let's get it out. Let's get it in boots. Let's,
Yeah.
So I just think that timing is everything, isn't it? And you can't say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You're like, I made the best decision at the time with the information that I had and the state of mind I was in, and it's okay.
Okay.
Have compassion for yourself. and
Especially your younger, messy self. Come on. So, how important it is, just to wrap it up, how important do you think it is to get close to our discomfort in our industries and in our lives and in our worlds? What can it benefit? How can it benefit us to be uncomfortable and be comfortable with that?
I think it's crucial. I think you have to go with your fear, or you don't have to, but I think, doing things that you're scared of, doing things that make you uncomfortable are character building.
Yeah.
And lessons, and help you grow within your career, and I guess, within yourself. I think there's small things all the time. And if they're scary, it probably means that you're
On the right
going
path.
somewhere, you're doing something new.
Yeah.
So if you don't do those, you're not gonna get to where you
Level
wanna
up.
go.
Like Mario Kart. It's like, oh, I hate the ghost route. It's like, but you know what's on the other side.
And because I think it's easy to sit around and be like, this isn't happening and this isn't happening, and I do it all the time, and then I'll get offered something and I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's too scary.
Can't possibly. But like, if I always said no, then I'd still be sitting at home not doing anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's crucial, and yeah.
Sharma?
I would completely agree. I feel like I love how you said Mario Kart, because I feel like discomfort is experience points in a game. And it's really funny because thinking about my son again, who I'm obsessed with, in case you don't notice, I've made his life so comfortable that I actually am a bit worried for him, and I think I'm gonna throw him in the Australian outback for 6 months or something. Like I want him to do some form of vision quest of being alone or being on a journey or doing something completely different, because he has had, I don't think he's ever been cold or hungry.
Wow.
Son, do you get what I mean? And I did not grow up like that. So I think discomfort is character building, exactly what Tyson said. But I would also say that I think of discomfort as a signal to move my life into an area where I feel more comfortable. I'm like, I can be complacent, which I think is different to being comfortable. I'll be complacent, trotting along, and then something will happen that makes me feel anxious or fearful or uncomfortable. And I'll be like, oh, okay, this is a signal that I need to make some changes and move towards the comfort.
Yeah.
And to be honest, these things are as super ancient philosophy. We either want pleasure or pain. And when I'm experiencing the pain, I'm like, let me listen to the pain and what the pain is telling me. And let me then design a life that is filled with pleasure and comfort. And if I'm honest, I don't like being uncomfortable one bit. I like to have a life of pleasure and comfort and ease, and things shouldn't be hard. I grew up thinking that if things are uncomfortable or hard, that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a complete myth. When things like, oh, this is so hard.
They're like in love as well. It's like,
Shouldn't
oh,
be
all the
hard.
time. It's just so passionate. It's like, no, it should be easy.
No, it should be easy, because then when you're in the flow, you have that extra space and stillness to do more things, So yeah, I'm a big believer in using discomfort as a signal to make a change.
Perfect. Tazi?
I was just going to add that I think the finding the comfort in those discomforting situations in terms of work, I think is saying that you can do them. Like, I wouldn't be offered this thing, or this wouldn't be, nothing that's meant for you will pass you by. Like, even if it feels scary and uncomfortable at the time, I think feeling comfortable in that is, for me anyway, being like, no, this is meant for me. I can do this.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, it's almost like a wave. Like, okay, I can. It's terrifying, but for me to get through it is like,
You got to ride it.
I can do this.
Yeah.
And for in those moments while I'm doing something like, whatever is scary, that's the comfort in that very terrifying situation. If that
God,
makes sense.
don't give us anything we can't handle. Let's end on that. Thank you so much, Tyson and Sharma. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for coming to talk a little bit about discomfort. I think we are going to have a question from the audience. Yeah. Hello. Hi, sweetheart. Wait a minute. Ethan's gonna give you a mic, sweet, so you don't have to shout. There we go. Thank you.
Hi, this is a question for everyone on the panel. I was wondering who in your life do you think is the most comfortable in their own skin?
Oh my God. I'd say your mum. I'd say my auntie Nana Cherry. It's shocking. Actually, both of our mothers, my mum and Tyson's mum, they've just become these incredibly. They've always been inspiring, but at the moment, in their 60s, they have just become very still and very calm and very powerful in the world. And I think we're all quite like blown away by who they've become. And it makes it getting older look really nice. So, yeah, I'd say Nana Cherry and Andy Oliver.
Great answer. I think I would also say my partner, actually. His name's Selassie TBC. I think he has, which I find inspiring, a confidence and a calm where he knows who he is and knows his worth, I think, in a really inspiring way. Yeah.
Yes.
I would say my 8-year-old niece, Amaya, um, she's so confident and it's so beautiful to watch because she is a very slim in a world where in Jamaican culture you've told to eat more. And, some of my aunties will call her Marga and my sisters like, don't say that. She's got the most beautiful dark skin and she wears her hair completely natural and she really owns it. And I look at her and I think how times have changed from where I didn't have the confidence to wear my hair natural at school, and I say to her I'm like, your hair's stunning, but really, that's testament to her mother, my sister, Shakira, who has raised her with all the self-belief that she is the most beautiful, which she is, girl in the world. And I just think she's so comfortable in her own skin, and I love to see it.
Especially at that age. That's beautiful. Any other questions? Oh, hi, darling. Ethan, can we give this lovely lady the mic? Thank you. Hello.
Thanks, love. You were speaking about rituals. I was just wondering, do any of you have like a specific ritual that you do to like help ground yourself, or like any rituals that you just really love doing for yourself?
Well, I have a bath every day.
Somebody loves their baths.
I have no, but it is really important because I actually started having a bath, just to reiterate, when I moved to London, because if you're not from London and you move to London, it's so overwhelming how many people you're physically around every day. And I used to get this really weird ick, like anxiety ick, which just would not go away until I'd wash myself. So I used to be at uni all day and be like, I can't wait to get home and have a bath, have a bath, have a bath. So now I do have a bath as a mental grounding to cleanse and purify myself, not only from the physical dirt of the day, but from the mental noise of other people's thinking and emotion. And I don't have, believe it or not, a crazy ritual. Like, I read this incredible article by Beauty Substack where was this 10-page my bath routine. I was like, mine is very simple. I used a perfume bath oil, that is my own brand, and I just get in the water. It's very simple. I don't do no bubbles, no foam, no, barely use a face mask. And I think however simple it is for you, there's something about the ritual immersion of water that for millennia, humans of all over the world, I've been researching Inuit culture lately, like Inuit shamans, and every culture has some sort of full body immersion purification process. So I think whatever it is for you, sound bath, forest bath, water baths, cold swimming, especially as a black girl who's not was not comfortable in the water as a child for a very long time, being in the water is very, very important for me.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, actually. And I was saying that for me, it's tennis or any racket sport. And again, as a young black girl, that was something that I wasn't really told was for me or had access to, especially if you're poor. And the minute I could do that, I have. And it is ritualistic to me. It reminds me of my strength. It reminds me how fun life can be. Like tennis is so fun for me. And it reminds me of how, like, to play the game of life, like the harder you go to hit the ball, then you get the reward of if you kind of go for it, then you're not getting that ball. And that is life. It's like, it is a game. how hard do you want to play? And tennis is like a really good reminder of that. And that life is, fun. It's not just like a really hard game, it's a fun game. Ticey, any rituals?
Mine
in
is
life?
cooking, actually. That's it allows me to slow down. I think I have a very, very busy mind, and obviously the world it makes it worse. So it allows me. I think it's the only time that I really sometimes don't think about anything and just focus on like chopping something, and it's quite like physical and meditative. And I also love feeding other people, like bringing people together, and I guess the ritual of sharing a meal together and all of you slowing down together and sharing that space and that food. And
And then that's so passed down to us, isn't it? That spirit, like our mums were like, this is how you be together.
Yeah.
Like you feed each other and you share that space.
And like no matter how busy they were, whatever they were doing in the day, they would somehow manage to feed
Cook a lot of
at least 15 people every single day of the week. That's really
One more thing I'll say on the ritual, actually, because I got a feeling you want something a bit more witchy.
Good. I love that.
It's more like, I remember when I was like really feeling low, someone said to me, "Why are you depressed for? Why are you not using your powers?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're a witch. Why are you not using your powers?"
Love that.
The way he
Love
said
that.
it was so casual. Why are you not using your powers? And now, whenever I'm feeling low, I'm like, why am I not using my powers?
No, that's too good.
Meditate.
That's
Let
so
me write
good.
this down. Let me burn something. Let me pick up a rock and meditate. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, just use that phrase. Why are you not using your powers?
Why are you not using your power?
very you as well.
That's very good. That's
Very.
kind of what we should have called this. Okay. Now we really know we have one more question. Can Ethan get over there? Quick time. Thank you, darling. We're just coming over to you now. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Last question is actually to do with power, and because you're all black women, I would really love to ask, how do you, as black women, how have you been able to know when to stand in your power, especially because we're often told and taught, and like in a very deep societal way, that we're not allowed to do that, and we're often shunned as we grow up when we choose to stand in our own personal power. So yeah, I was wondering, how have you guys done that? Because yeah, it's really inspiring to
Great question. Thank you, darling. Sharma, you want to go?
You've heard this yesterday.
That's all right.
I wrote an essay. I got a book called New Methods for Women, and I wrote an essay called Call on Your Ancestors. And that was really about thinking about how our modern storytelling and our modern mythology, and when I say modern, I mean just the last 2,000 years, is very centered around a view of women, not just women of color. The foreignness is one thing, but just women as being less than, or damsels in distress, or harlots, or sluts, or all of these, sorry if there's children here, or all of these negative stereotypes that then reinforce the patriarchy. And I think it's very easy for us to wake up every day and question ourselves, because we have been taught to question ourselves pretty much from the day we're born. And it suddenly occurred to me, if you go back further than 2,000 years, which is why I called my brand 39 BC, there's actually loads of powerful women, loads of powerful stories. And we're in this era now where people are rewriting those stories quite beautifully. But I was like, what if I just wrote my story? What if I just said, I am descended from 38 generations of West African nobility? Who are you to talk to me? Like, literally, that is how I stand in my power. I'm half Indian. I don't know my father, but I did my DNA. I'm from the Punjab region, which gives another layer of millennia of knowledge and wisdom. And then I have the West African side via Jamaica, which is another layer of millennia of knowledge and wisdom. And I'm like, who on earth am I to not stand in my power when all of these centuries of people have existed so that I could be here today? Who am I to be a wuss right now? I can't be a coward. How can I be a coward? That's a shame on my, you know what I mean? Shame on myself. And also my middle name is Alexandria. So also there was that extra layer of your name. And I love researching like names in different cultures and what they mean. take your name and look at it in different languages and be like, what does this name mean? My namesake, and the way that certain children are named in different cultures is such a beautiful thing. Alexandria was the center of the world at one point, the Great Library of Alexandria, and obviously Cleopatra, for everyone who knows, I'm obsessed with her. I was like, this is my birthright. Who am I to not take a stand and step into my power?
Yes, Sharma. I can hear you talk about that every day too. Okay. One thing I would say is I started in TV when I was a teenager. I was 16, and I was the only girl or in the writers' room or on the screen. I was also the only black young woman on screen anywhere.
Inspiring to us all, by the
Oh,
way.
thanks.
T4, hungover on a Saturday. Who was there? We were all there.
Thanks, Sharma. And I always felt like, oh God, I'm the only one. And then when I came back to grab my career by the horns this time around, I was like, oh, I'm the only one, or I was the only one. And there's power in that. And I have a duty because I was the only one. And that was like about a complete reframing of the narrative. And I suddenly realized that it was very powerful that I was on my own in that world for so long. And this time I would not take that lightly and hold it in the way it should be held.
It's that duty and responsibility. It's beautiful thing to feel when you can own it.
When you're strong enough to carry it, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's why I sing. It's the time where I feel powerful. I feel big. I feel like no one's going to make me smaller. No one can tell me not to say this or not to be loud or not to be me. And it's like all the dots are connecting, everything slots into place and everything feels right when I sing. That's a bit cheesy, but I think that's why I like write songs and release songs and perform and
Stop, I'm this close to asking you to sing because Tyson's voice is just another thing. But we will end there. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here today. It was lovely to share these stories with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's all get close to discomfort. Why not? Why not? Who knows what can happen? Thank you.